at some matters with education. Well, the president of the Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics, Mr. Asamoah, I think it was on Wednesday, when he said that government's response to their strike, because they've been on strike for a while now, is, in his words, haphazard, unconvincing. What's going on with this?
Just like I said, you know, I try to keep to terms when we reach an agreement with you. And I know that we met last 2 weeks and we've agreed to something and the process is on, and I don't like to breach it. It's really unfortunate. It's unfortunate in the sense that they alleged that this agreement was signed in 2009, and one of the issues has to do with, set up the governing councils, which governing councils have been set up and inaugurated. The Needs Assessment Committee, which was set up and inaugurated, because you can't talk about improving on infrastructures without really finding out the level of decay. What is it going to cost, just like what you did in the universities. That has been done. And then they are talking about the release of white paper. Sometimes I said, look, that of course is in the process. It is not only polytechnics, it has also to do colleges of education and some universities. So that is not peculiar to the polytechnics. And then they talk about the Content 15, which has to do with the salary grade and the rest of it, and which we have agreed and we have worked out that yes, government has agreed to do this. So what we are not doing is, how do we pay it? Government cannot afford to pay it completely at an installment. And so we have made a proposal to them. They've taken our proposal to go back to their union, and we have also made some recommendations to government. But that is the limit I can, because I don't want to breach certain things.
But anyway, I think it looks like would have been right for us to say you led a thing or two from the protracted ASU strike, because now you meeting with the ASU union, you also had student representatives at that meeting.
Yes.
Why was that?
Well, just the students requested that they want to really know what was going on. That the union will come back and say, government has not done this, and they will hear government say, oh no, the union is not saying the truth. So, because at the end of the day, they are the end receiver, they are the ones who are going to the direct beneficiaries. So, okay, one will be part of the meeting. And they were part of the meeting when they heard from us and they heard from the union. I think they took something home. So that was what we did, and it didn't go beyond that.
But there was also one thing. They talked about the appointment of unqualified persons to the positions of rector in polytechnics and monotechnics.
Well, you see, each governing council set up criteria according to the laws establishing universities. So if the position of a rector is vacant, it's advertised and the processes are followed. And they also know that the union has representative in the governing council. So the ministry has no role to play in the appointment. What normally happens is at the end of the day, the governing council recommends 1, 2, 3 those to be appointed as rectors. And in most cases, in fact in all cases, we have always taken the first person as recommended by the governing council, which members are also members of the governing council. So nobody goes outside the conditions that you have to meet before appointment of rector. In fact, there's a problem now going on where even some polytechnics and the College of Education are saying that if you don't lecture or if you are not a staff within the polytechnic or within the College of Education, you will not be allowed to either be a provost or a rector. So you can see a lot of politicking going on, this and that, but I want to reserve my comments on that, because so that you not snowball to some other thing.
There are lots of people asking on Twitter how you combine your responsibility as the minister, Supervising Minister of Education, and with what's going on in Rivers. In fact, there will be a lot more responsibility for your sector at the World Economic Forum. What's the plan for that?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
The Nigeria Economic
World Economic Forum for Africa, which will be holding in Abuja this year. Are you going to be involved in that, because the government is focusing on education?
No, of course, we have played a lot of role. There's nothing too difficult. First of all, I don't go to the state between Monday to, I only travel on weekends. I only travel on weekends, and I'm back on Sunday evening. The work starts from Monday to the Friday, and then you are not the only person. What is important to you is that you treat your files and make sure that you supervise those who are supposed to carry out functions that have been delegated to do. And once you do that, it's easier for you. Just for example, now, if I go back now to the office, as immediately I leave this place, I'm going back to the office, and I don't allow any file to remain on my table. I must clear every file before the end of the day.
You know, I think, let me break it down. What Chamberlain is trying to ask is that this year we'll be having the 20th session of the Nigeria Economic Summit Group, NESG.
Yes, in March.
Yes. And the theme for this year is focusing strictly on education. Last year we saw in Abuja when it was about agriculture. So this time it's on education.
Yeah,
your ministry is doing
yes,
about that. Sorry,
team.
let me key this in, knowing full well that a lot, now that you say you've gone to at least 35 states in the country, waiting for, I'm sure you'll be people there waiting for you to pay that visit so that we can now say you have gone around Nigeria. The unity schools, I don't know if you've ever paid a visit to some of these unity schools. Once upon a time they were the glory of the nation, but not now, not anymore. So what are you doing with the unity schools?
Let me tell you this.
The NESG?
When I assumed office, if you remember, I can proudly say we have 104 unity colleges in this country. I can proudly say I've been to not less than 80 of those schools. 80 of those schools, I can proudly say. And one thing I found out is the environment is not conducive for learning. Why not conducive for learning? No library. Teachers are not there. They have what they call makeshift teachers, what they call casual teachers. This has been there for 10 good years. 10 good years. So, for me, what performance are you expecting from them? And so, I wrote to Mr. President, we can't continue to have these casual teachers. And Mr. President approved that. For those of them who are qualified, they should be employed immediately. Over 1,300 of these teachers. Mr. President also made approval of employing employing additional 1,000 particular areas in mathematics, physics, chemistry, and biology. Today, as I'm talking to you, go to any of the unity colleges, world-class libraries, manual and e-learning.
What about hostel, accommodation, learning facility?
Yes, and my emphasis is anything that will promote quality of education. And one of the things we have done is to make sure they have libraries and the books are there. 2, they have laboratories. Before now, the World Bank gave to each of the schools $250,000 in order to equip the laboratories, particularly physics, chemistry, and biology. So that's some improvement in those areas.
In all the unity schools, you say?
Yes.
All of them?
Yes, $250,000.
That's amazing because
I said so. Give it to them directly. That before we came.
That was before you came?
Yes, but we supervised it.
Okay.
Because before we came. But what I'm trying to say is that now in our budgeting pattern, what I did was to say, listen, we can't continue to have this school 10 million, this school 50 million. It goes nowhere. Therefore, what I'm going to do, we're going to phase the rehabilitation of the schools. So in 2012 budget, out of 104 unity colleges, and I said 40 of the schools will give you lump sums of money. 1, for your classrooms, for your hostels. Improve on your hostels, for those of you who have hostels, improve on your classrooms. None of those schools was allocated less than 80 billion naira. Now, yes, no. Now,
the 40 schools.
Yes. Now again, I said, what we gave to the other remaining schools were some stipends from mayor maintenance. Now in 2013, we now took another 40. In 2014, we are taking another set. So that by 2015, we would have improved at least not less than 70% of those schools.
Mr. Minister, quickly, I don't think we are out of time, but University of Nigeria Nsukka won't forgive us if we don't get to ask you this question, because the Alumni Association, they were here in our studios in December, and so you personally also announced the sack of the chancellor of that institution, and we saw the protest of that particular institution. Could you tell us what you know about this?
Unfortunately, as last week I got some documents that people have gone to court, the Alumni Association went to court, and I know the former Pro-Chancellor of the Nigeria, we're very good friends, political friends, and if there's anybody that should defend or protect him, it should be me. But again, why must we politicize everything we're doing? The appointment of Pro-Chancellors is whose prerogative? We did not dissolve the council. The visitor has power to remove anybody that is so appointed. And if we feel that the Pro-Chancellor is not doing well, in the first place, he's from Suka, mind you, he's from Suka. Ordinarily, why should we appoint the Pro-Chancellor from that community? The place will be polarized. Ordinarily. And we saw what was happening. And the government felt, listen, we can't allow the University of Sugar to go down if we allow this. The politics that was coming into there. We know so, and the government felt, look, take away this man, bring somebody from outside. And that was what we did.
What does a Pro-Chancellor do that you say
the chairman of the governing council
wasn't doing well?
Well, like I said, the matter is now in court, but the little you should know is that Pro-Chancellor's appointment is not by exams. It's by the prerogative of Mr. President. And we did not dissolve the council. We only said, with the activities going on, and we allow the Pro-Chancellor the way it's going is going to bring down the university. Therefore, let's take him away and appoint some other person. And then the community is now fighting as if an injustice was done to their son. All the whole thing you see has turned to community base. Now the Vice Chancellor's tenure will be expiring by June. So what is our business to protect him?
Okay, Minister, well, we're out of time on this one. I think we have less than 30 seconds left, but just respond to this before you go. Do you think the CP in Rivers State should be removed?
The prerogative of redeploying the CP is that of the IG. But I must say, we are not particular about any commission of police. We are not particular about any particular. But what we are saying is this. Whether you remove Mbu today or not, who comes tomorrow? We may carry a placard that says, look, this CP must go because he danced to the tune of the governor. So the issue of redeploying Mbu or Mbu staying is neither here nor there. Mbu is not particular to us. Okay. But one thing Nigeria must also know is that for the first time you must commend a commissioner of police who has stood firm. Most people don't have confidence in police. Who has stood firm to say, listen, if you're talking about wealth, if you're talking about money, Rivers State has it. But they say, I'm a professional, I want to do my job.
Okay. I
don't want to involve in politics. And instead of us to encourage such a person, what we are doing is to listen to those who are carrying protest to say, Mbu must go. Right. If Mbu goes today, it will still happen in all other states. Okay. Everybody will demand that this police must go. And if you don't, in fact, that will reduce, that as far as I'm concerned, the police decision will be, the power to the police will be reduced. In fact, everybody will now know that carry a protest of a particular CP, the IG has a duty to remove that CP.
All right, thank you for coming on. Minister of Education, Nyisom Wike, speaking to us about developments in Rivers State, as well as the education sector. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you for the opportunity you've given to us.
All right.